up, everybody? Bobby here, the Geek Guru. Geek, definitely guru. I don't know. We're going to go over a couple things real quick. We're going to talk about some mobile. We're going to talk about some next gen, all that good stuff. So, yeah. So, here we go. Nintendo, again, before we got to New York, they announced that they were forming a partnership with a company in Japan called De.N.A. They are more or less a big mobile creator company. There's a few things to this whole ordeal. This news conference that they had. It was Iwata was basically Nintendo. Iwata was having the press conference along with, I believe, the president of De.N.A. And the way it broke down was a couple of things. One, they are going to. Nintendo bought 10% stock in De.N.A. De.N.A. got I think 1 or 2% stock in Nintendo. They both transferred $180 billion from company to company. So that was the first thing. So now Nintendo kind of owns a bit of De.N.A. De.N.A. owns a bit of Nintendo, which to me basically says they're taking it serious. If you own something, you're not going to kind of more or less be oh, whatever. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. You're going to have a little bit more stake in the company. That was number one. Number two was this is going to open up now because they're saying that it's going to be over a bunch of different devices. It's going to be, you're going to more or less, you're going to have your 3DS, you're going to have your consoles, you're going to have your computers, and then you're going to have your mobile. So the computers is a little iffy and wondering. People are kind of curious what exactly that means. I do know that a couple of the games that Nintendo's been working on lately runs on HTML5 and stuff like that. So Donkey Kong or Mario vs. Donkey Kong could actually play on the computer as well as the phone. So there's people that are...
old games?
What's that? This
you're
deal?
Going to be able to play?
No, they're saying that they don't want to bring old games over.
Oh.
It's going to be all brand new games. It's going to be games that are designed specifically for mobile, which is good because people don't... I don't know if you've ever played a game on mobile where it's a platformer and it's a digital D-pad with buttons. It's horrible.
I don't think so.
It's horrible. I know people have out there that have done it. It's the worst way to play. I would not want to play Mario Bros. Like that. There is talks that maybe Nintendo will make a device, like a controller that you put your phone in, and then you can play that way. But I think initially the way they're going to go is they're probably going to do some that Pokemon Shuffle that I've been playing on my 3DS. That's a game that I think would be perfect for mobile. There was another game that came out a while ago called Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. That would be perfect for mobile. There's a few games that just I think would be ideal for it. If they could figure out a way to do street passing, that would be really cool. Some people are upset. I think a lot of the gamers are upset because they're thinking two things. One, Nintendo might start ditching the home consoles and the 3DS. But that's not going to happen because that was another part of...
I don't think that would happen.
Yeah. But that was another part of the press conference was Nintendo announced our next console. They didn't say what it was, handheld or home console. It's codenamed NX. They haven't said what that means. Iwata actually said, we're not going to say anything now. You'll hear about it next year. We just want it. And that was basically, everybody's flipping out, this is the new system. The Wii is going to die. That's not the case. They had to announce this. They had to announce this because in Japan, a lot of the big companies like Capcom, who made Street Fighter and Mega Man and Konami that did Castlevania and stuff like that, they all started moving the way in mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of left the home markets and the handhelds and stuff like that. So if Nintendo just came out and did because you know how erratic Nintendo fans are. So if Nintendo just came out and said, hey, we're going to start doing mobile gaming, the next thing you would hear is, oh, they're giving up on home consoles, they're giving up on the 3DS, don't buy another Wii U, none of that. So I think that Nintendo basically was saying hey, we're doing this, but don't get up in arms. we're working on this. And what another thing that people don't seem to understand at all, and I remember this when I was a kid, and I used to get Nintendo Power to the house when I was a kid. And in one of the articles in Nintendo Power, it said that like when Nintendo puts out a new console and it's out, like a month, 2 months, 3 months later, they immediately start working on the next console. Like Sony's working on PlayStation 5. Xbox or Microsoft is working on the next Xbox. Like nobody should be surprised about this at all. But it amazes me how many people are surprised. If you have a research and development team, you're not going to sit there and you're not going to pay these people to sit there and do nothing for 3, 4, or 5 years. You're going to have them working on the next thing immediately. So it has a lot of people confused because they have also said that like we're going to do kind of a it's going to be kind of a new way to game, like that type of messaging, and it's got people like an innovation. It's going to be a new innovation for gaming, and people are kind of like, oh, well, because they don't like the Wii, they don't like the gamepad, and they're like, oh, here we go again. A lot of people just want like a PS4 or an Xbox One. Like they want a system that's that powerful. They don't want the gimmicks. They don't want the motion control, stuff like that. To me, though, I feel like this. I feel like everybody that's upset about a gimmick, per se, well, wouldn't the hybrid system that people kind of want, where you have your handheld, like, let's say hypothetically we have the Wii U and the gamepad. What if, when I left, if we were going someplace, I just took my gamepad and went, and I could actually use that. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I think would be a cool thing to have.
Yes,
and have all your games that you have, like if you were playing off your console.
And think about it. And people are like, "Oh, it's going to be too much money if you did that." How much is an iPhone? Like $400 for an iPhone, and then an Apple TV is $100. I could literally do that now. I could play all my mobile games on the run. Then when I come home, I could click a button and play them on the TV. Now, I don't because they're mobile games and they're not that good. But that said, I could do it now. So the technology is kind of there. I think that Nintendo could do this and make it work. I don't know whether or not it's feasible at this point and financially, if it's something they can do. But if people are worried about, to me, that's a gimmick. So if that's what Nintendo is working on, then I'm all for that gimmick. I think people need to just calm down, take a deep breath, and kind of see what's going to happen. They're not going to announce anything at E3. It won't be till next year. So that's kind of a slowdown thing. The thing with De.N.A, which is the other thing that's kind of cool with De.N.A is De.N.A. The other thing that's kind of cool with De.N.A is that they are working on the Club Nintendo aspect, which kind of gets me excited because if they had the pillars, which they're saying, and they have like the 3DS, the mobile gaming, the computer, the PC, the Wii U, and then this NX system, it makes me kind of think like, are we going to be in a cross-buy situation? So like, if I bought Mario vs. Donkey Kong on my 3DS, can I get it for free on my Wii U? Can I get it free for my mobile? Can I get it free for the PC? Can I get it free for this next console? Whatever it is. If they do rewards programs and I'm buying stuff, if I buy an app on this, is it going to go in? Are my points going to roll over to here? If I buy something on the computer, are the points going to roll over? Like, I'm excited for that aspect. I'm excited to see kind of how it opens up all the way completely. I'm kind of excited to see what Nintendo can do for mobile gaming. Like, mobile gaming kind of sucks right now. Like, you get your Candy Crushes, you get your Angry Birds, stuff like that. Like, you get your runner games.
It's all the same thing.
It's all the same nonsense. It's stupid.
Doing copycat kind of games like, oh, Angry Birds is popular. Let's make, Angry Ducks or something like. It's all the same thing.
So for me, if you take a company like Nintendo, that I don't care what anybody says, and I'll go toe to toe with anybody, and I'll debate anybody on this. Nintendo makes the best games in the world. They're the greatest game maker ever. You may have companies like Naughty Dog that do great games like Last of Us, but that's it. They do one great game. Huh?
Back to the Future.
Who did Back to the Future?
Oh, you're talking about Naughty Dog. Yeah.
I'm talking about games, not movies.
I'm thinking of Telltale.
That was not a great game. That was not a great game.
I'm not even listening to you.
So anyway, my thing is like you get a game like Last of Us or Uncharted that Naughty Dog does, and then
I like Last of Us.
it was a good game.
I didn't play it.
Great
I
game.
just watched it.
Yeah, you watched me play it,
and it was like watching a movie. It was pretty cool.
But my thing is like as great as that game is, Nintendo does Mario Kart, Smash, 3D World, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, like Bayonetta 2. Like, for all the one games that this one studio does, Nintendo has 4 or 5 or 6 other ones that they're doing. And they're all great games. So, that's why I feel like, yes, Naughty Dog is an amazing studio, and I'm not taking anything from them, but I feel like when you have a company like Nintendo that's doing 4, 5, 6 great games a year, kind of hard to dispute that they're not the best game company in the world. That said, they're very good with innovations. So I think that if you give them mobile gaming and you say, go with it, they're going to create some awesome games. I don't feel like, and people are kind of upset because De.N.A kind of does like these free-to-play games where it's a lot of in-app purchases or in-game purchases, but I don't think Nintendo's going to necessarily drive that way. I think some games, yes, they're going to do games like that, but I think if they do a game that's specific, like a Zelda game specific to the handheld or a Mario game specific to the mobile device, I think they're going to be innovative. I think they're going to utilize what they got and just go with it, you know? Dr. Mario, it's a perfect game for handheld, you know, for a mobile device. Yoshi's Cookie is perfect. There was another Yoshi game that was kind of like a runner game. Like, there's a lot of games that they have already. They've talked about Animal Crossing. That was one of the franchises that they mentioned going to the mobile devices. I don't know how they would do that. Maybe if it's just like an app, like a companion app, you know, that we had already. I'm just not 100% sure how that's all going to work out. So I am interested and I'm very excited with this whole new development. I'm kind of more of a like, let's wait and see how it all pans out. There's some people that are like basically grabbing the pitchforks and the torches and like, let's burn everything down. And I'm not of that mindset.
People do that to everybody. Calm down.
Yeah, I'm not of that mindset. I'm more of like, let's wait and see. I have enough faith in Nintendo that I think it's going to be good. And what Nintendo is kind of talking to, what Iwata was saying was, their hopes are, you know, the Wii U has 9 million units sold. Let's even look at like the Wii U, or the Wii had I think like 125 million units sold. But you got to talk like, that's nothing. You know, like, I mean, that's a lot. 125 is a lot. But like, the Wii U has 9 million. I think the PS4 has 20 million. I think the PS4 has 20 million. The 3DS is like 25, 30 million units. And I think if you took like all the different DSs, it's like 50, 60 million. You know, Xbox One has 10, 11 million. You look at those numbers, and they're not exact numbers. I'm just throwing stuff off the top of my head. I could be wrong, and I probably am wrong with all my exact numbers. But if you look at that compared to cell phones, like, cell phones are like 80 million people have cell phones. So if you can get into 80 million different people's hands and be like, this is what we're doing. And not only that, like, their hopes are, is like, let's say that Joe Schmo is playing a game and they really like it. Their hopes are that it'll pull them over to a 3DS. It'll pull them over to a Wii U. You know, it'll basically say, like, you know, if you're sitting there at home and you're playing,
someone who wasn't a Nintendo consumer before will be like, hey, you know what?
This game is really, really good. And then they sit at home and they watch a commercial and they go, hey, Nintendo does that too. And I don't think there's many people out there that don't know who Nintendo is. I think you got to be living under a rock for the last 20 years to not know who Nintendo is. Like, every mother knows Nintendo. Every father knows Nintendo. If a kid is in the bedroom playing a PlayStation, odds are the parents think it's a Nintendo. So, and that may not be exactly true in today's generation, but I know growing up for me, that was the way it was. Like, no matter what system you had after that, it was like, go play your Nintendo, or you're playing your Nintendo. So that's it for that. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Click the like button. Share the video with all your friends. Leave a comment below. Don't cough. Leave a comment below. Follow us Instagram, Twitter, at The Geek Gurus, Facebook.com/The Geek Guru. We also started a new group, a Facebook group. Just go on Facebook, search The Geek Guru. You'll see a group pop up. Just click join. I will accept you, bring you in. It's open to other YouTube content creators. You can advertise your YouTube channels. You can, whatever, if you got blogs and vlogs and websites and all that stuff, feel free, come in, drop down links. If you got podcasts, leave it in, leave it in there, no problem. Advertise your stuff. You can follow Tony at
TWH Tony on Twitter and Instagram, and I am the Working Housewife on YouTube.
That is all. Thank you guys again. Peace, mother.